We've all been waiting for it, and the Super Mario Brothers movie is finally out, and I got to see it yesterday, day before yesterday, whenever it was, and this one's a tough one if you're looking around the internet. As it stands right now, it has a 55% for Rotten Tomatoes and a 96% for general audiences, which we've been seeing a lot these days. If you watched any of my other reviews or not, you'll know that I'm not gonna, beat around the bush. I have shitty taste in movies, which is fine. I go in and I watch a movie. When I come out, really there's one metric for me. Okay, I'm not a critic. Was I entertained? If yes, then I'll recommend the movie. If no, then I won't. Personally, I think it's stupid to dumb down a review into one singular number. That's meaningless information in my view, but what do I know? Anyway, let's get into the review. It's fun. It starts off great. Basically seen the beginning of it if you've watched the trailers and everything, the commercials. So very cool. Mario and Luigi, very good brotherly love. Everyone's kind of praising that, which gets into a negative for some people later on. I personally didn't see a problem with it, but again, what do I know? We got a Super Mario Brothers movie as the franchise is today. Is it full of fan service and member berries? Absolutely. Is the plot paper thin? Yep, absolutely. Does the music evoke Mario? Hell yeah. But I'll get back to the music in a minute because there's some interesting stuff I'd like to talk about there. Anyway, all these things are what I expected, and I got what I expected. So hell yeah, the movie's absolutely serviceable at the very least. Is it the next Lord of the Rings or Ben-Hur, Passion of the Christ, whatever big movie that you want to talk about? No, at least not narratively. And similar to Star Wars Episode 7, it plays it very close to the chest, taking no real chances, which I understand because if you've seen the 90s Mario movie and Nintendo did not want to fuck this up in any way, shape, or form, and that means playing it pretty damn vanilla for the first movie, which is exactly what I expected. And if you didn't expect that, I don't know what your mind frame is. We can get a lot of mind-bending lore bombs and deep story and all that kind of stuff later. This needed to be a straightforward Mario movie experience because one of two things is going to happen. They're going to build a franchise out of it, some sort of cinematic Smash Brothers universe, which if they were smart they would do. And if it's just a one-time, one go, there's so much Mario packed into this movie. So I understand people want something deeper, but really, do we need Mario wooing Peach with some deep introspective lore and everything like that? Or do we want to see breakneck speed going from set piece to set piece like you do in the game, going from level to level? I'd rather have the latter, and that's what we got. So let's talk a little bit about Easter eggs. The whole goddamn movie is an Easter egg, really. These are all just part of the Mario experience. But there's one thing that I did specifically want to mention. In preparation for this, I was playing through Super Mario Odyssey again for the first time, I don't know, since it came out. Damn, that game is so good. Anyway, the whole plot is basically the plot of this movie where Bowser wants to marry Peach. I'm not going to go over every Easter egg. There's way too many other channels that do that, but what I haven't seen them point out is that bouquet of flowers, piranha plants, is the exact same bouquet of Super Mario Odyssey, and Bowser, I believe, is wearing the same hat as well to try and woo Peach, as it were. So I thought that was cool. That would have only caught my attention if I had played Odyssey, and I did, so I'm glad I caught it. It's really good. It's a whole movie, fan service, nostalgia bullshit. Absolutely. And I'm totally here for it. So, the voice actors. This one pretty much broke the internet, specifically Chris Pratt as Mario. And to be completely honest, while I was watching the movie, I just saw and heard Mario. I completely forgot that it was Chris Pratt. Maybe a few times, but by and large, I didn't even notice or remember. In fact, all the cast does a fantastic job. My favorite, and I think a lot of other people's favorites, is Peach definitely stands out with Anya Taylor-Joy voicing her, who, if you haven't seen Queen's Gambit, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. I've also heard some criticism that the cast doesn't have chemistry. I don't know about that. I don't know, maybe I'm too stupid to know what chemistry looks like or doesn't. I did terrible in chemistry in college, so to be fair. But I don't know, I thought it was fine. I didn't notice anything that would have been labeled awkward or anything like that. So I don't know, maybe again I just don't understand, and that's probably a valid thing. I don't know, maybe I didn't understand, and that's probably what is happening. So let's touch on the music for a bit. Long story short, it's Super Mario music with a big budget that fits the big screen, as you would expect. All or most of the jingles out there are in the movie in one form or another, if not even just like as a little flourish. So all that being said, I think the biggest contention that I heard here was that people don't necessarily like the 80s music. People either don't like it or they didn't care. But I think it was done for a reason. Of course, the main thing comes into mind is Mario came about in the 80s, so of course you would want something that fit that particular decade to Mario. It actually does fit. It's not necessarily Mario music, but it is 80s music. I think it's a little bit deeper than that, personally. Music is a primer, and by that I mean whenever you hear music, it evokes feelings and nostalgia on a very, very deep level in your brain. So it primes you, and churches do this. They play music and it primes you. It gets you in the mood for something, more susceptible to feeling a particular way. So this music being 80s, I would like to think specifically aimed for my generation, because they did pick some of the biggest pop songs in the 80s. So early memories, like most memories, has a musical component to it, so the movie used that music and tapped into our childhood, and in doing so, we're effectively kind of transported back in time to being a kid again. Maybe don't remember exactly if you listen to these songs, but you do remember being a kid in the 80s if you're like me, mid to late 30s. And since we're in that childlike state, we watch this insanely beautiful Mario movie, which a child of the 80s could only ever hope to dream about seeing Mario in that form. Personally, I think they knew exactly what they were doing when they put those songs in there. I would bet every penny on it that they were, again, priming the older folk to enjoy the movie more, taking us back to our childhood. Let me know if I'm probably looking too deep, 100%, but I think that's what's going on there. Anyway, in conclusion, it's a super great movie. It's a fine movie. I was grinning ear to ear like a goddamn idiot the entire time, and I'm completely fine with that. I hesitate to see how anyone could come out of the movie and just bitch about it. Bitch and complain and moan. I don't understand that mindset, especially for this movie. But again, this is the internet, and everything has to be either the greatest thing of all time, oh my god, or the worst thing ever, humanity's doomed, blah blah blah. It's the internet. It's just black and white. And whenever they even try to say something is middle of the road or mid, they use it as a derogatory term, which shouldn't be, because middle means not bad and not good. It's perfectly serviceable, and that's not a bad thing. So these people, these critics, and some other people too, come out saying, it was better than an unplugged Game Boy I saw at one point. I don't understand that. Maybe I was watching a different movie, and I think I was, because there's a lot of people shitting on this. I legitimately think that I might have been in a different movie. But again, I'm not a critic, and to be honest, I can't even find much negative to say about the movie, like at all. Like, I'm trying to think of something. Maybe the fact that Mario and Luigi get split up, but even that hinder the movie. So that being said, I went in expecting a Super Mario movie, and I got a Super Mario movie with all the member bears and all that shit. I'm a moviegoer, I want to be entertained, and I was entertained. Absolutely. So, of course, I recommend it if you can deal with the paper-thin plot. And I know that's a negative for a lot of people, but it's a Mario game. Were you really expecting Game of Thrones? You were expecting a Mario game in the form of a movie, and that's what you get. But if you can deal with all of that, definitely go and see it. If you enjoy Mario, you probably already will, so I don't know why you're listening to this, but thank you anyway. One last thing, though. Luma Lee, I believe we can all agree, stole the show. Luma Lee has some seriously fucking dark issues, and is completely engulfed in nihilism, which I am totally there for. Everything about it. The one thing I never expected was Lumily at the end, when she says, or it says, whatever, well, the movie's over. The only thing to do is play saxophone. I mentioned this because I fucking love the saxophone. If you follow me on Twitter, you know that I love the saxophone. I've played it my entire life. I'm a big music person. So I was with my girlfriend and that happened, and I started like flipping out, like, oh my god, like beating her arm and stuff. It's the saxophone. She's like, I know, calm down. So I don't know. I said I don't like to give singular numerical scores to a movie, but hey, I'll make an exception. This movie is a 10 out of 10, specifically for the end scene. That's a joke, kind of, but kind of not. Anyway, if you made it to the end here, I hope you got some idea of where you should go and see it. Make an informed decision. Hopefully I enlightened a few people on why they used the 80s music. That's the main reason why I made this. I don't like to make videos that I can't contribute something, that has been said a million times before. So anyway, do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. I stream every night, so join me there and take it easy, everyone. I'll see you in stream later.